let's talk about Yoshihiro Togashi. Now, when you hear that name, you probably think of two things: his incredible series, Hunter x Hunter, and, well, its famous hiatuses. But that's just scratching the surface. We're going to go deeper, into the mind of a man who didn't just write manga. He reinvented it by treating it like a system of rules.
You know, for a lot of newer fans, Togashi is kind of defined by his breaks, by the time he spends not drawing, but that completely misses the point. The real question is, who is this guy as a creator? What did he actually do for the art form? Well, the answer is huge. He fundamentally changed the game, moving it away from just pure action and into a world of complex rules and really deep thought.
See, his career isn't some big mystery about missed deadlines. No, it's a story about intentional, deliberate choices that were shaped by a very unique upbringing and a kind of quiet, intellectual rebellion against the entire manga industry that made him a star. So to really get his genius, we have to look at how it was built, piece by piece.
And that story, it doesn't start in some chaotic editor's office in Tokyo. Nah, it begins somewhere much, much quieter. This is the first part of the puzzle, what I like to call the Yamagata blueprint.
Okay, so Togashi grew up in Shinjo, a city way out in Yamagata Prefecture. This distance from Tokyo, the heart of the manga industry, was absolutely critical. Think about it. Creators in Tokyo are constantly swimming in industry pressure, chasing trends, and looking for that immediate feedback. But Togashi? His distance gave him a totally different mindset. He was focused on building these internally complete, self-contained worlds, not just what was hot that week.
And his education just doubled down on this. He didn't go to some specialized manga school. He went to the art department at Yamagata University. This is so important. His training wasn't about drawing flashy fight scenes. It was about structure, concept, composition. The result? You see it in his pages. His panels are all about delivering information clearly and crafting the reading experience, not just about visual pop. He was building stories like an architect builds a house.
So you have this unique foundation, right? An artist focused on internal logic and structure. And all of that set the stage for one of the most shocking moments in manga history, a true rebellion against success and the absolute turning point of his career.
Back in the early 90s, his series Yu Yu Hakusho wasn't just big, it was a global phenomenon, an absolute titan for Shonen Jump. And then, in 1994, right at the absolute peak of its popularity, he just stopped. He ended it. From a business perspective, it made zero sense. So why? Why would anyone walk away from a guaranteed smash hit?
It all comes down to this single core belief. He was way more interested in exploring psychological battles and setting up intricate rule systems than he wasn't drawing the endless tournament arcs the industry wanted. So, by ending Yu Yu Hakusho, he was making a huge public statement. My creative drive matters more than your commercial logic.
Okay, so he's got this rebellious spirit, which is powerful. But to really start a revolution in the medium, he needed one more thing. He needed total, uncompromising freedom to experiment.
And in 1999, he got it. He married Naoko Takeuchi, the creator of Sailor Moon. This wasn't just a personal thing, it was a creative superunion. You had two of the biggest hitmakers on the planet joining forces. This created a level of financial and social stability that's just almost unheard of for a manga artist. And here's the key. The need to draw to make a living was suddenly replaced by the choice to draw for creative fulfillment, and that changes everything. This absolute freedom became the final ingredient. It's what allowed him to create his masterpiece, Hunter x Hunter, a series that isn't just a manga. It's one of the greatest thought experiments ever put to paper. The heart and soul of Hunter x Hunter is its power system, Nen. But look, this is not just about cool energy blasts. Nen is this incredibly deep, complex system of rules, conditions, and restrictions. It's really a philosophical engine designed to explore a much bigger question. How do the systems and rules we create end up controlling our own behavior? The entire focus shifts from who's stronger to who's smarter at using the rules. And he uses that engine to turn entire story arcs into these brilliant explorations of real-world systems. The York New City arc, it's all about economics and the nature of violence. The Chimera Ant arc is a deep dive into biology, evolution, and ethics. The election arc, it's a straight-up deconstruction of democracy and power. He's using the shonen manga format as his own personal laboratory for ideas. And that is what explains those infamous text-heavy panels, the diagrams, the stuff that sometimes makes readers' heads spin.
It is a completely deliberate choice. Togashi is demanding that his audience switch gears, from just passively consuming a story with their senses to actively participating with their minds. He's not asking you to just feel, he's asking you to think. So when you lay all these pieces out on the table, a clear picture starts to form. A formula, even. His genius wasn't some random accident. It was a synthesis of very specific, very powerful ingredients. This quote right here is basically Togashi's personal mission statement. He believes that manga as a medium and the creator behind it should be totally free to explore any idea in any way they want. And if the result is too dense or too complex for some people, that's okay, because the reader is also free. They get to choose whether or not to engage with it. That philosophy connects directly to all the hallmarks of his later work. The wild narrative experiments, the walls of text, the way he prioritizes rules over mindless action. These aren't flaws. They are the price of absolute creative freedom, and it's a price he is more than willing to pay. So there you have it. The mystery is pretty much solved. Togashi's one-of-a-kind genius is the result of this very clear 5-step process. A formative environment that taught him to look inward, a formal education in structure, a bold rebellion against commercialism, the unbelievable economic freedom to do whatever he wanted, and finally, the grand, mind-bending experiment that is Hunter x Hunter.
And all of this leaves us with one last, really fascinating question to chew on. If his entire career, his entire approach to manga was the result of this perfect, probably unrepeatable storm of conditions, does that mean we might never see another creator quite like Yoshihiro Togashi again? Something to think about.